How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're actually in the garage, and I know what you're thinking. Why have we not been on the boat yet? This is a show about boats. Yes, I know that, but my HOA does not allow boats in the driveway until the weekend. So on days that I'm filming where it's not the weekend, also known as weekdays, we'll be here in the garage talking about different stuff, and then I'll do some B-roll of actually being on the boat and doing the project and stuff like that over top of it. And then for days where I can be on the boat, or we're gonna be on the water, or testing things out and stuff like that, we'll have a whole different setup and be outside. It's not gonna look like a moody, cool, Gucci YouTuber boy type of thing. It'll look a lot more South Florida-y. So that is what we're going to do with that to put up with my HOA's amazingly terrible rules. Come on, guys, it's South Florida. Like, if you don't like boats, why do you live here? You know what? Let's just talk about tools and stuff that may get us going. So, let's see here. So one of the first projects that I had to do on the Pursuit was I had to re-tap the drain plugs. If you're looking at the back of the boat, the little V, there's a drain plug right at the bottom of that V, right behind the outboard. I'll show you what it actually looks like in B-roll here. What's going on is hang on, one more second. I got some replacements of these, which are good to have on hand whenever you're on a boat, because a drain plug is really important. And if you forget to put it in, or if you lose your drain plug, especially at the dock or anything like that, when you're trying to install it after you've forgotten to put it in, so you're reaching down into the boat, trying to screw it in there, which I've done, you wanna have a couple backups on hand. These are what they look like. It's a little brass plug, and they've got a, pretty standard thread on there, some sort of like pipe. There's a term for it. I don't know what it is. I could probably look it up. These you can just pick up at West Marine or probably Walmart or Amazon, anything like that. They're pretty cheap. And I grabbed a couple of these, but the one that came with the boat only went in about this far to this like second thread in here, which was enough to stop the water coming in, but I really did not like that sticking out so far. When you're underway or something like that, being able to lose it, somebody knocking it as they're getting up on the boat, which you probably don't want to put your feet down there, but it could happen. It's just not a good time to be on the boat and having to bail water or having that much water come into the boat that quickly. So what I did was I went online and I looked for a special set of oversized taps for the drain plug, specifically a 1/2-inch tap. This is my other set, and I got this off of my mother-in-law, who had like free tools and stuff like that. Okay, great fact. Find some older people in your life if you're looking to stock up on your tool collection. People who used to do projects and stuff like that, like uncles, cousins, grandparents, whatever, if you have any. Try to find them, ask them if they're using any of their old tools, or if you can help them clean out their garage. And if they're not using any of those things anymore, those are some really great tools that you can just be like, boom, free tools, here you go. So that's how I got these. So this is what a normal tap set looks like. It's got this T-handle here. Here's some thread cutters, and then there's some taps below this. I show that to you to pull out, hang on. Eventually I'll get a table in front of me, so this is gonna be easier. This little thing right here is the handle that you use for the taps to screw them in, giving equal pressure on both sides. I did not have that to fit this big 1/2-inch thread cutter. So I just used a 9/16 socket. A 6-point socket on there will work, or a 11/32 for a 12-point socket. I don't know. Just fit it to a socket. It'll fit on there, and I just use a socket wrench to do that. Somebody's probably going to roast me in the comments saying that is the dumbest way you can do it. You're gonna get it cockeyed or bend it or whatever, but it worked. So whatever. If you want a quick way to check and see before you cut the threads if it's going to work, take the plug or take the screw or whatever it is you're doing, and just line up the threads with the cutter and see if they marry each other. These ones do, because this is the right one for it. What I did is I cut the threads, I ran it all the way down. They're tapered, so you can cut them very easily, but you can also mess them up very easily. Taking that whole fitting out, replacing it with a whole nother fitting, it can be done. It's not super hard to do something like that. Just anytime that you're poking a hole into the transom of the boat, you want to make sure it's super well sealed. It's going to have to dry. You take a 2-minute project and turn it into like a 1.5-day project. It probably won't take that long, but you know what I'm saying. It's going to be a pain in the butt. So what I did is I took the threads over here. I found a good little spot on the the circle of it that had pretty well defined threads, and I just laid this tapered end up into it and rotated it in to where it would thread correctly until it started biting all the way around. And as it runs down this thread cutter or this tap, it expands in that hole and cuts those threads. So I ran it pretty much almost all the way in to where you couldn't see any of the threads, and I backed it out. Just continued doing that until I got it to fit flush where I wanted it to fit. Then I left it in there accidentally and pressure washed the boat, and tons of water came out, so much so that it was, when I was trailering it back to where it lives on the weekdays, there was water shooting out the side while I was trailering it from the bilge pump. So that was kind of funny. Thankfully, I didn't spray any other cars that were next to me. That wouldn't be, the gross bilge water hitting your windshield is probably not a fun thing. But yeah, so that is a quick and easy way to fix that problem. If you do mess up the threads, it's not the end of the world. If you do decide to do this, let me know how it goes for you in the comments. Tell me if there's anything I missed or anything I did wrong. If anyone else has done this kind of a project before, and there's an easier, quicker way to do it that doesn't involve having to buy new taps, like, let me know how that goes too. So yeah, all the usual things, like, subscribe. Where was it? What else can I talk about? What other things are here? It really sucks whenever the HOA is like, no, you can't have your boat here. We live in Florida. Like, if you don't want to see boats, what are you doing here? Like, go back to Massachusetts. And they got boats there too. What are you even doing there? Go back to like Kansas. Pretty sure they have boats there. They got boats everywhere. What are you doing in Florida if you don't want to see a boat? It's like going to Seattle and being like, I don't want to see a tree.